Let's welcome our host, Erica Wilson.
Great day, everyone. We're here live today with the girl, Dr. Erica Wilson, at It Had to Happen TV for our Tuesday night madness. And tonight we're going to talk about the direct audit. Welcome to It Had to Happen TV, guys. If you're just now coming in and you're new to this channel, please do hit the subscribe button as well as the notification button. It will let you guys know every time we go live here tonight at It Had to Happen TV. But tonight, guys, we are conducting a high stakes audit, okay? In the professional world, we review the tape and the stats, but we rarely audit the foundation. So, guys, tonight we're going behind the scenes of fame and fortune to discuss protecting the assets, okay? We're talking about your money, your heart, and your peace. I am joined by the beautiful financial advisor, Ashley Cunningham, to bridge the gap between financial security and internal mastery. It's time to stop playing defense with your life and start leading the conversation. So without further ado, let me go ahead and bring on the Ashley Cunningham. Welcome.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. You can't hear me? Okay, hold on one second. Let's see what's happening here. Guys, please.
So I do have you on YouTube just to make sure, but I can't hear you.
Wow, I'm not sure why. Guys, we're having technical difficulties, so please do hold.
I can hear you now.
Okay, you can hear me now.
Now I can't.
Now you can't. What is happening here? I'm not sure what is happening here, Ash, but I can hear you.
Should I come back in and try to come back out?
Yes, please. Guys, please do bear with us while we wait for the beautiful Ashley. We will have Ashley come back before us very soon. So please, guys, please do bear with us while we wait for the beautiful Ashley. We will have Ashley come back. I tell you guys, whew. What a day. Ashley, please tell me, can you hear me?
You now? Yes.
Okay. Oh my God. I don't know what's happening with that. You know, that's happened before to a guest before. But guys, we do have the beautiful Ashley before us now. And the topic on tonight is protecting the assets.
Yes.
Financial relationships and the search for safe spaces. So Ashley, for the ones that's just coming in that may not know who you are, can you go ahead and tell the audience a little bit about who's Ashley Cunningham?
Yes. So Ashley Cunningham, I started off as an athlete, played professional overseas for about a year, got pregnant with my son, came home, got into the medical field, realized that just was not for me. Opportunity came about to get into the financial industry by getting my life insurance first. So I decided to do that. And then I was just like, there's more to money than just life insurance. So investment world kind of came about. And 5 years later, I teach people how to save and make money.
Well, I think just hearing you saying that you were an athlete, you went off to college, you got pregnant, and then you jumped into this financial world, because that's one of the things we know in school now. They remove financial literacy. They do not teach our kids anything about it. So just to hear that not only were you an athlete, but you got into the money too, as well as on the back end. You know, the people need houses once they, go to the league, because guess what? They're going to be jumping from team to team. So I think you're going to cover it all on tonight. So get your pens and papers ready, guys, because the Ashley Cunningham will be dropping jewels on tonight. So Ashley, hearing that, you went off to college, how many years did you play in college, and what did you play?
So I ran track and I played basketball. I played 1 year in prep school and then technically 3 in college as far as my freshman to senior year. I can no longer hear you. Your microphone is mute.
Yeah, that is. So only 1 year you played basketball?
In prep school. So 1 year of prep school. And then I played my half my junior year because I had a season-ending injury, and then my senior year.
Well, hearing about that season-ending injury, I definitely want to jump into that because I don't think athletes ever take the time to stop and think about that type of injury, because we know that players get injured in any sport, right? And I was talking to a young man and he was talking about just the aspects of NFL. Like NFL players don't make enough money because of the type of injuries that they get, especially with the CTE, the concussions, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, you've been a basketball player and received your end of you couldn't play no longer because it ended
Mm-hmm.
your season. How was that on your mental?
It was really hard. Around that time, my father had passed away, so it was almost a blessing in disguise. I remember there were times during practice where I would just burst out crying and running out the gym just randomly throughout a drill, or if we were running a play for a team that we were going to play the following day. So me getting hurt was probably the best thing for me at that time. It sounds really weird, but looking back, I honestly feel like because you're in college, you're playing on scholarship, and you have to perform. I was not performing, especially to the way that my coach knew I could perform. So with that, with me being able to mentally check out because of this injury, I think it allowed me that space to grieve.
So the thing is, you not only had one blow, you had two blows in one.
Mm-hmm.
Season-ending injury, and then your father passing. My
Correct.
thing is, that is enough to kind of like make a person to check out per se.
Mhm.
But did you have anyone that was around you, were able to rally around you and help you grieve, or did you just needed to be alone and just handle it the best way you knew how?
Yeah, so I remember getting the call, hey, my dad's about to have surgery. From there, it's like the stars almost aligned. The hospital he was in, we were actually playing a tournament a few X's up the street. So I asked my coach, I said, hey, my dad's having surgery. Can I just drive down there, meet you guys, practice, whatever the case may be? She said yes. Little did I know that, after one of our games that my father would be passing, I remember texting the coach. I was just like, he's gone. And she was just like, oh no. And in my head, I needed time to process because like I saw him wake up. I saw him have conversations. Like when he saw me, he was like, what the hell are you doing here? Why you're not at school? And to see him wake up and move around and go from almost a vegetable state, I was just like, damn, uh, what's happening here? So from that aspect, honestly, it gave me time that I really needed. And I remember telling my coach, I said, please, I don't need you guys coming in and hugging me. That's just gonna break me down. Act like as if nothing happened. And they gave me that space. They gave me that space for them not to come in there and say, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? Because no, I'm not okay. And I appreciated that for them. And then on the back end, I have Travis, who's just my rock, and he's just like, letting himself be my punching bag. So I love, yeah, I had that, and of course my sister.
Right. Oh my God. Well, most people will like people to rally around them, but however, I see where you're coming from because you didn't want anyone coming in to act for you, all right? Because I think that's just the human side of us to ask that question, right?
Right.
But if I just had a season-ending injury and I just lost my father, that's just a no-brainer. You should know that I'm not. However, but allowing them, them allowing you to actually have your space, and
Mhm.
some people will look at that like, oh, nobody checked on me or whatever, but not knowing, or on the outside looking in and see nobody is really checking on Ash or nobody's helping out Ash, but not knowing this is what Ash wanted. Ash
Mhm.
did not want anyone coming in. So my thing is, so now you're at the season, or the season ending injury. Just think about a player. If their contract ended today, right? And yours, you had a season injury. That didn't mean your contract ended. But think about a player, a now
Mhm.
football player. We're going to go with the NFL. Guys, I'm so sorry. Leon Searcy could not be here on tonight. He will be back before us, him and Ashley, next Tuesday. He had an emergency, so please do lift him up in prayer. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But if you had a athlete that was one of your clients
Mm-hmm.
and they had a contract ended today, would you think that that inner circle will stay, or would you think that they will leave?
So with that, well, first I want to make sure I clear this one up. It was the death and then the injury. So the death came first and then the injury. But to answer that question, it's really hard to just say yes or no. I think there are certain things that you will see in the forefront before the athlete signs their contract, and what happens when they didn't have money. So all those things that kind of pile up, and then once they have that season-ending injury, that will tell them exactly who that person is. Like, were they hit up when you didn't have money, or was it when you started having money? Now all of a sudden they're hitting your line.
But watch this though. What happens if they were around, right? For the ride. You know, when the contract was good, the playing time was good, I was doing good, but here it is, you know, my contract ended. Like the
Mm-hmm.
lights out now. Shoulder pads come off, jersey come off, cleats come off. My, you know, my contract has ended. And I'm talking about the inner circle who's
Mm-hmm.
been there for you, right? So-called been there for you. But would you think that they would stay for the man or they will leave for the money? Like, I'm done with you. Let me just move on to the next man, you know, that
Yeah.
has money.
I think most times if you do your inner circle correctly, then yeah, they're going to stay. There are going to be signs that happen during that time, that are going to lead up. So for instance, I love to give by nature, right? And a lot of athletes typically love to give by nature because they're escaping a situation that, you know, it's giving them the opportunity to be financially free. So you want to give, you want to make sure your people are okay. But during that time, there has to be someone that has a boundary that is just like, I don't need that, you know, or I know you got the money, but let me take care of this for you, you know. So I think there are a lot of details that kind of come into play, when it comes to your inner circle. So for me, I know a few people who have played professionally or who played professionally, but you will never sit there and they can never sit there and think that I'm going to be like, oh yeah, no, they got it. Like, when I'm going in somewhere, I know that I'm going to pay for my tab. But if you say I got it, I'm like, cool, thank you. I got you on the next one. So I think it's like those small details that you will see if someone's really for you.
You know what? And I'm glad that you hit on that because a lot of people tend to think that things are free in the NFL. And I
Mm-hmm.
know I keep reverting back to the NFL because we were supposed to have Leon Searcy on here. And I just want to kind of tie it into next week's show. But here's the thing. A lot of people think that the NFL, certain things are free in the NFL, and it's not. Nothing's for free. Nothing's for free in the NFL. So like you said, if you go somewhere, you'll say, okay, I'll go ahead and I'll pay for my ticket, right? Unless the person say, you know what, I got you. But here it is, when the person say, I got you, because they're like you, come on
Mm-hmm.
now, they're like you, they're a natural born giver.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that they have a whole line of people behind them, but just because they a giver, you know, they're gonna say, you know what, I got you. And most people will take them up on that offer because that's what they said. But that person really was saying, you know, in the back of my mind, I really don't have it, but you know, I'm a giver. And then when they're all drained and dry, where are the people?
Yeah.
Where are the people? You know, but you had a rock. You had a rock that stood behind you. So shouts out to you, Travis, if you're listening in. Shouts out to you. But just to know that you had someone to basically fall back on, some of these athletes don't. Mr.
That's true.
Sears' story was like he left the league after 11 years broke.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's there. What do
And
you do?
that's the story for a lot of athletes. So I have a friend who's a wealth manager for a few NBA clients, and she says, like, you have people who have been in the league for years, like great players, but when they get out, they have nothing to show for it. Like, a lot of them, they don't know how to withdraw their own money. They don't know what account their money is linked to. And when she's telling me, I'm just like, really? Like, no one's telling them, like, hey, your account's here. This is how much money you have. These are the numbers. And like, no, a lot of them just call and say, hey, I need X amount of money. And they would just go and give it to them. And unfortunately, a lot of them look like us. So by the time that they do get out, they don't understand the value of a dollar. They don't understand that if you got 10,000 in the bank account and you spend 8,000, you got $2,000 left, and $2,000 left ain't gonna, you know, especially when you're trying to ball on a certain budget. But I think what happens is, in most cases, you know, again, athletes who don't come from anything and they are betting on this contract to feed themselves and their family, they reach down too soon, meaning they don't set themselves up first, because they are the foundation, to bring everyone else up with them. And that's where a lot of them fall short. And then they find themselves in a situation that they never thought that they would be back in.
Wow. And that is so profound that you just said that, because no, most of their dreams is to what? Take care of mom. Or to buy mom this house, and they don't really think about them. However, like you said, most of them are not taught from the right financial advisors, because the thing is, as I don't care if a 50 cents come out of my account. I want to know to come to my phone, to know what's coming out of my account. And I want to even say shouts out to you, Alan, if you are on here. One of the things about Alan, he has those notifications. I don't care what you say I have in the bank. I already know what I have in the bank, because I'm keeping up with my account. I'm keeping up with my portfolio. But a lot of times they're so busy, and to their defense, but you still have
to their defense, and then not to their defense. So,
right. Because I know that you still have time. You have some time off from work, because it's a job, right? To know what's going on with your money. You're out there sacrificing your body. You should know what's going on with your money. You should not let someone have that much access over your financials. And a good financial advisor, I don't care how many times you call and say what you need, even though it's your money, they're not going to give it to you.
But I'm not your mother. I'm your financial advisor. I'm going to tell you where your money is. You can go get it.
Yes, but that's the thing. Those are the type of financial advisors that's needed, because guess what? When these players are done with football, or football is done with them, they need to have something to fall back on, because 9 times out of 10, everybody who was there rooting them on and pulling out, from their pockets, they're not going to be there. Truth be told, they're not, Ash.
And we see that time and time again, even for people who's just like, oh, wives. Oh, my wife, love her, blah, blah, blah. Then we hear something happen. They get traded to a team, or they go down in the stock, or they don't get picked up. They're, whatever the case may be. Now they're in a divorce. Now they're taking half of their stuff. So it's just like, even growing up, I always used to say to myself, and I know you said we're going to touch on this when we have Mr. Searcy here, but when you, Mr. Williams, love people who love you. And the part with athletes are, and I blame society for this most times, is that they feel like they have to have a certain person on their arm. They have to look a certain way. And they are not going with people who love them for them. They're going with people who love the lifestyle that they have. And that's where they end up messing up long-term down the road. Instead of loving people who love them, they just love the idea of what their life could look like if they love this certain person.
Oh, I had to come back on that one, because that was good.
Can't hear you.
Absolutely. You can hear me? What is happening? Can you hear me now? Oh my God. I don't know what's happening, guys. Please do bear with us. We're having some
I can probably go back in and go back out, because when you go off, I think that's when I can't hear you anymore. So I'll go back in and go back out.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right, guys, we're having some technical difficulty here. Gwen Smith, question for Ashley. She'll be right back on. Please do bear with us. We're having some technical difficulties, but thank you for coming in. And if you're just now coming in and you're new to this channel, please do hit the subscribe button as well as the notification button. It will let you guys know every time we go live here at It Had to Happen. Ash, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Gwen has a question. Knowing what you know as a financial profession, what would you do differently when you were an athlete?
Ah.
Mm.
So financial wise, when I first got the NIL wasn't out when I was playing. I'm not even sure if I would have got an NIL deal, but it'd be cool to think if I did. So, but playing professionally overseas, I would have definitely stacked my money more, because I had everything paid for. But when you're overseas and you're by yourself, the food was different. I found my favorite little food spot. They took all my money, got to travel. So traveling took all my money. Shopping took all my money. So I think when we're overseas most times and we're by ourselves, especially in the only Black person, in a predominantly white area, you kind of fill all these voids with certain spaces to try to make you feel better. But had I known what I know now from the time I started playing basketball, because I was also working when I was playing up until professionally, up until being done, I would have saved my money. I probably could have retired myself by now. But you live and you learn. And I'm not dwelling on the past.
But see, that's why we have shows like this to get up here, because we don't want anyone else to make that type of mistake,
Okay.
right? Because we know that it's happening far too often. I mean, like I said, I can't wait for Mr. Searcy to come here and drop some of his jewels next week as well, because the thing is, and if you're just coming in, Mr. Searcy had an emergency, so he will be with us next Tuesday as well as Ash. They'll be back with us on Tuesday. But being though that, hearing Mr. Searcy's story, I'm sure that there's many others that we don't know about, however, we're thinking about too the mental side of it, right? Because losing everything, we know, especially, if you don't know who you are, let me go here. If you don't know who you are and you basing who you are from the validation that you're getting from others, when that jersey come off, or whatever jersey it is, cleats, basketball shoes, whatever it may be, when that dies down, who are you?
Mm-hmm.
And now you don't know who you are. Now you're trying to figure things out. And here it is. You have nobody to pour back into you that's around, because everybody gone.
Mm-hmm.
What
And
do you
that's why. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, what do you do?
And I'm gonna always reference back to Mr. Williams. I will always reference back to that man. That man made me understand what it was like to build your own village when you didn't have one, and pour into you. So I knew when I was playing sports who I wanted around me. Like, I was okay with being alone. I've always been okay. I'm okay with being alone now. I mean, I have kids now, so that won't happen, but I'm okay with being alone now.
Definitely not.
And I remember when my junior and senior year of high school, I moved to an entirely different new county. It was a great school. I mean, these are some ballers. I think I've lost 5 games playing with them my senior and junior year. We only lost 5 games, and we made it all the way to the Final Four. And I knew if they weren't my vibe, I can't just force myself onto that. And I think that made me a little bit more interesting, because people will always be like, why don't you want to hang out with us? And I'm just like, what you guys are doing, like, it is not necessarily my speed. Like, I like y'all,
Right.
but I don't see myself hanging out with y'all outside of just basketball. And I kind of kept that separate, and if they were for me, they were for me, and they naturally gravitated to me. Like, I have a few that I still talk to this day that
Wow.
I appreciated, not only off the court, but on the court. And that relationship has fostered over time. And I'm really proud of what they are doing now. Like,
Yeah.
absolutely proud of what they're doing now. So there were people, again, that I'm just like, I was okay with being quiet. I was quiet my whole life. And with me being quiet my whole life, you see things that people who talk a lot don't see.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I know who was for me, who was not for me, who could potentially get me in trouble, who could keep me where I didn't want to be, and who could elevate me.
That's good right there. And you know what? I'm having a show tomorrow that says learn the conversation before you try to leave the table. Because there are far too many times where we sit at a table where we're just supposed to sit and get, but we yap too much, and we don't get what we have to learn how to read the room before we talk in that room. That's what we have to learn how to do. But we don't do that. We try to just fit in and force things. And I love the fact that you said that you had your own mind. Basically, you are not a follower, you are a leader. But do you know, Mr. Searcy also said, like inside that locker room, there's so much pressure. You
Oh
see?
yeah.
So, and then here it is, these the rookies that's coming in, and they see the vets living the life, right? They're thinking that this is something that they can do as well. But little do they know, like you have to be an Ashley. You have to be an Ashley because you got to understand you're a rookie. Yes, you may. And this is another thing that I want people to get. You're even though you're a rookie, right? Everybody is making the same amount on that team. The only difference is basically that signing bonus.
Hmm.
That signing bonus, right? So now you're coming in and you're seeing what these $1 million guys are getting and the lifestyle that they're living. And now this is something that you want to do. Now it comes into the women. It
Hmm.
comes into the spending. You want to have the finer things. You want to have the nice things. You want to have the houses, the cars, and things like that. Matter of fact, I just saw on Facebook the other day one of the players who just entered who was just picked up. I don't know what team he was picked up from, but he bought two Maserati trucks for his
Hmm.
mom, for his sister. But here's what we do on the outside looking in. We try to call other people's pockets and try to say what they're doing. You understand? That's them. But what happens if that young fellow do not have the correct financial advisor in their life to show them, to advise them rather, to advise them on the do's and the don'ts, because there's life after football, right?
Yeah,
But
of
we
course.
don't know if he got that NIL money, because there's a lot of it, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's a lot of it. So my thing is, we're on the outside looking in, and this is what happens when we have people that's on the outside looking in, and they're saying what the kids shouldn't have did, or oh, the whole family made it to the NFL. My thing is, that's his choice.
Hmm.
But will he, or do you think that he could come across an Ashley, because we're trying to get my girl plugged in the league, y'all, with some players. But do you think he can come across an Ashley that can teach him how to build his portfolio, not just with the finances, but he's gonna have to purchase a home. And maybe, if he get traded, he's gonna have to get a place wherever he's traded at. Like you say, you all the way overseas. You had to
Hmm.
travel back and forth. All of that go into play. Now,
Hmm.
if you have, just say he's a father and he has a family, he's married. Guess what he has to do? Uproot his family. That's money. So, do you think that he could come across Ashley, or how can one of these athletes come across Ashley Cunningham, and how can they contact you?
Yeah, so they can definitely come across that Ashley. There are a lot of us that are out there who genuinely just want to see people win. Like, you know me, I'm a person, I'm quality over quantity. I'm gonna give you
Yes.
my best work.
Yes.
But the thing is now what's happening is you have a lot of vultures that's coming in, right?
Ooh.
Just being in the financial industry, we have a fiduciary responsibility to our client, which means we put your interest above our own. But you
Oh,
have people who just don't abide by that. You know
mm-mm.
what I'm saying? They will not abide by that. And they're going to get you with, oh, I can get you this, I can get you that, I can get you this. And then half the time, like, let's get you this nice diamond chain, drip you down, and then next thing you know, you realize you don't like the diamond chain and you can't resell it because the value was is nowhere near what it was when you got it.
Yeah.
And you have
Oh,
a lot of these financial advisors coming in pretty much saying, like, I can get you to live this lifestyle, but they're not understanding where the athlete is coming from and exactly what it is that they need. So, one
ah,
thing that I like to say that is different about me is I've lived in a space where I had nothing. I've lived in a space where I had a lot. I lived in a space where I lost it all. And I lived in a space where I'm building it back up. So I
mm,
understand what it looks like and how it feels and how to get out of that, or,
yeah.
the emotions and the psychology that comes with it. But then
Ooh,
you have people who've never been through that situation and they just see X's and O's, zeros and ones, and that's all that it is.
yeah. Yeah. Well, too, I don't know why my eye always run when I get on the show and never do it during the day. So I don't know if it's a nervous thing or a nerve thing or what. But here's the thing too, Ash. Think about it. they're not teaching financial literacy in school anymore. So
Yeah.
now we know that a lot of the players are coming from nothing, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And but now they're able to make the money from the NIL deals and things like that. But what happens? We're gonna even go to the collegiate level, like we're talking about the NIL thing, and we know last year the transfer portal was horrible. Oh, it was horrible. You had 10,000 kids with 6,000 spots open. So that means 4,000 of our children going home because of that transfer portal.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can get more if I go over here because I'm not getting to play over here. But thinking, yeah, the money may sound good, but what is the playing time? Because now, if you're a receiver, I love my receivers. But if you go and you're a receiver, there could be 4 or 5 other good receivers because we all know that in college we have what everybody's good. That when you
Yeah.
hit the pro level, everybody's the best, right? But you go over there, the money sounds good, yes, but you have 5 other receivers that's ahead of you. Will you
Mm-hmm.
hit that field to be able to make that NIL money? Or say they do make the NIL money and then don't make it to the pro level. Now you're talking about mental because now I have this certain lifestyle that I created.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that the collegiate kids are hiring financial advisors, and they're really building their portfolio, and not just building their portfolio but telling them, uh I think personally, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think a financial advisor should make money when their client makes money. Am I right or wrong?
Um, some can and some don't. It really kind of just depends on whatever brokerage they're attached to.
Hmm.
But some of them can charge a flat out fee, like, hey, I charge you this every quarter, every year, every month, every time we meet, whatever the case may be, or it might just be a flat rate. I also, just to answer your question, I feel like it depends on the school itself. I feel like the lower D1s, D2s, if there are any NIL deals for student athletes, depending on the school, they might not have what a LSU or a South Carolina may have. As far I'm speaking women's
Yeah.
at this point, because if you have a Dawn Stanley that's in your ear, she's probably gonna be like, "Look, there's life after this." Granted, she's
Yeah.
bringing out some beautiful WNBA players from her school, but I don't think it's just sports with her. It's more so like, let me build you up when
Yeah.
that life may not happen for you, because you can get drafted, but you can
Yes.
also you get drafted,
Hmm.
so that's my take on that.
Ash, people don't think that. They do not get it. Just because you were drafted does not mean you can't get cut.
Mm-hmm.
You have to make that 53-man roster, and I don't know what it is in basketball. How many players is it you have to make? Uh,
uh, Probably 16, 20. I don't know for the WNBA, probably less
right.
than that. They're
If
building.
they, yeah, but why isn't why isn't it that they have where they're reassuring? And you got to think about everybody that's tied to the athlete play a part. I
Mm-hmm.
think, yeah, I think everybody play a part in that athlete's life. Why? Because so many of us are, and I say us because I'm a mom of a pro athlete, former pro athlete. But here's the thing: so many of us is pulling from them, not knowing we're not pouring. Some of us not pouring because I'm one of those moms that I told Alan he don't, he owed me his diploma, high school diploma, and his degree from college. Whatever
Mm-hmm.
he decided to do outside of that, that was totally on him. But I never made my son feel like you have to do this for me, And you said something in the beginning of the show where a lot of them don't think about themselves, they think about everybody else. And my son was one of the ones that bought me the home, bought me the car before he even purchased his home and before he even purchased his car, because that was always his dream. But one thing I can say was very, very conservative with his money,
Mm-hmm.
and some are not. So I don't think that even though they may have, took financial literacy out of the schools, you should have somebody around you that's helping you understand money.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you allow the money to make you and you don't make the money, it's a wrap. It got you. It
And
has you.
we're at a time period now where we have access
Mm-hmm.
to tools, the internet. We have our phone in our hand probably about the majority of the day.
Yeah.
So, at one point, and I'm going to place blame on the athlete here, you have to also
Mhm.
want better for yourself too. Like we have that gut feeling where like, oh, this person, those feelings just don't happen all of a sudden. There are signs that leads up to that point where you realize that this person was either using you or whatever that case may be, but you decide to ignore it because this is family.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if you don't do the work that you need to place those boundaries on people, then it will
Yeah.
get out of control. And
Yeah.
then when you are in a position that and you need help, no one's going to be able to save you.
Mm-mm. And that's one of the things I love about Mr. Searcy. And I know I'm going to keep calling his name all night because that's one of the things he took accountability.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he held himself accountable. He was like, this is what I allowed, not
Mm-hmm.
what they did to me. This is what I allowed, and sometimes in that space, when you're making all of this money and you're seeing what's going on in the locker room with your peers or your teammates, the vets, and you see them living the life, even though if you have 500,000 or you have 500 million, you
Mm-hmm.
you know you don't even see that you got 500,000 and that player got 500 million, so they could afford to live like that, you know.
Right.
But it's just that pressure, Ashley, that they're seeing. Oh, this is the life, because you're thinking 500,000. They're coming to 500,000 from nothing, basically,
Mm-hmm.
right? Not realizing that 500,000, slice that in half, because Uncle Sam's gonna get his money. you know then you got to think about your agent fees, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, if you have a financial advisor, now you have to think about those fees. Then you
Mm-hmm.
have to think about what happens after the 17 paychecks stop, because you get 17
Taxes.
paychecks. You have to live in your off season, and if you're not making money off the field, if you're not making any off the field money, that 500,000 could look like 100,000, if that. Think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Think.
And you're right about that. And I'll still go back to this point. If you didn't come from money as a professional athlete, you're more than likely bound to go back to where you started from after or even
Wow.
during like your season. But there's a psychology behind all of that.
Yeah.
What in your past is
Mm,
allowing you to have the relationship that you have with money? And
mm,
why are you spending things or doing things with this money to put yourself in a position that is going to cost you later on? But
yeah.
most people don't look towards the future. They're like, well, I got it now. So
Mhm.
I'm okay now. I'm not worried about the future until the future happens. You're like, damn,
Yeah.
I would have. you know?
Thing is, a lot of times, and I say we because I've been there before too, we buy things or do things to try to impress people that really don't even, they're not even paying us any attention anyway,
Mm-hmm.
but we do it to try to, yes, we do it to try to keep up with the Joneses.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. I have a little money in my pocket. I'm able to splurge on, but not knowing next week there may be a situation where I need that money that I just splurged with. I have to feed my family next week. I'm talking about his personal family, his or her personal
Mm-hmm.
family, their home, not the cousins, brothers, moms, and all of that. I'm talking about his home, right? But why is it that we feel, and this is in our community, why is it that we feel that we have to have tons of cars? We only could drive one, or different homes. One of the things I love about the draft this year, I don't know if you watched it. Did you watch it?
I watched some of it. I did have a friend of mine who had a family member that got drafted, so I watched a little
Okay,
bit of
did
it.
you watch the first day?
I watched with the dude in where did he get drafted? The Eagles. It was all cool looking.
But watch this. I'm gonna see if you can name something that you saw this year that
Hmm.
was different from the previous year.
I did see that. I can't remember the name or what round he got drafted, but he came out to gospel music,
Oh yeah. Oh
and
yeah. That's another one. But what I'm going with it, a lot of the players didn't come out with all that jury, all that flashy stuff. They were very, very humble this year. Very, very. I got to shout out my youth family. I got to shout them out. Even though they tricked one of our boys, but hey, he got in there. He's at the Buck. But here, that's another thing too, Ash. I find it where, and I'm gonna say it. I just have to be honest. Sometimes I feel like the NFL build our kids up and tear them down.
Mhm.
Although this man was there for his draft, you understand, to get drafted to a team. Why go dig and try to bring things out about him during that particular time?
Mhm.
I just really don't get that. But this is one of the things that we have to, let our kids know about as well. Be very, very careful. Not saying that he did or didn't do it. I don't know. And I'm not there to say he did or didn't. However, this is one of the things that we have to, not just as a parent, but anyone that's around that athlete and cares for that athlete needs to let them know, like, man, okay, you off your game, tighten up. Be careful of who you're getting tied to or the things that you're doing, because you're on the radar. Everything that's attached to you is on the radar, pretty much. So, like you said, you were one of the ones that, okay, y'all cool when we playing basketball, but outside of that, I need my me time. You don't
Mhm.
have a lot of people that's like that. You have some that need that club or need that crowd. What happens when they fall into temptation like that? You was an athlete. What happened? Did you see any of your peers or your teammates
Oh
fall?
yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
Right.
And you end up self-sabotaging the opportunity.
Ooh.
I've seen
See,
it happen where I would not disclose the name, I would just give little
no,
detail.
please don't. No, don't.
I had a high school friend who went to college and got tied up in the wrong crowd. Something happened. She was there. She was suspended indefinitely from a team. And I'm talking about, she could have probably been in the WNBA. Like, she was a banger. She was one of those players that I was just like, oh yeah, I'm trying to mimic my game after her. Like, she
Wow.
was great. And she fell into a situation, unfortunately, and it followed her. And she was probably the sweetest person I've known. She was sweet, she was funny, she was caring, and she liked to see people like do better. So
See,
for her to fall into that, it was just like, damn, how?
yeah. Ooh. And Mr. Searcy also said too that he wished that he had people around him that kind of tell him, like, you're off your game, like tighten up,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much, or to hold him accountable, because when you're an athlete, people put you up on this pedestal, right? And they think that you can't do any wrong, not knowing that, you know, I'm human. Flesh, right? The flesh sometimes rises up, things happen, but this is why we have to definitely speak life into them instead of just sucking life out of them. We have to speak life into them, reassure them. Everybody needs reassuring. I don't care where you are in life. Everybody needs reassuring at some time or another. Right. But you have these athletes where everybody's just pulling, pulling, pulling. And now here it is. I have a lot of yes men. Thank you, Holy Spirit. I got a lot of yes men around me. They're not telling me when I'm off my game. They're not telling me when I'm wrong. If they see me doing something that I should not be doing, because none of us, I don't care who you are, athlete, who you are, what profession you in, none of us do everything right. And
Yeah.
we need to have people around us that can hold us accountable, could tell us, speak into us and let us know we're doing something wrong. Constructive criticism is always good. You don't have to take offense to everything. Sometimes people on the outside see things in you that you don't see, but you probably see, just don't want to admit to it, hoping that somebody else don't see. So,
Mm-hmm.
now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna jump into Ash. My eye is really, really right here, and it never do this. But we're gonna go into some rapid fire questions, because here's the thing: a lot of times, as athletes, you got both sides of it. You're an
Mm-hmm.
athlete, now you're a financial advisor,
Mm-hmm.
and well as a mortgage loan. You what,
Officer.
Okay, mortgage loan officer. So
Mhm.
if before we jump into that, because I always love to promote other people. So if one need to get in contact with you, please do tell us how we can do so before we jump into these rapid fire questions.
Yes. So you can text me. My number is 470-546-6903. And you can either put investments or mortgage. That way I know exactly what it is that you are looking for, and then can book a consultant call and kind of go from there.
All
Or just
right.
follow me on Instagram at JolieFill_Marie. So that's JolieFille_Marie, Marie. And yeah.
And tell her you heard it on It Had to Happen TV. All right. But Ash, also too, what just give a couple of tips. Just give out 3 tips. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
One, as an athlete, oh, you don't have to have you only deal with athletes? No. Okay. Just give 3 tips when searching for a financial advisor. Three questions per se.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Give 3 questions that they should ask when searching for a financial advisor.
Are they licensed?
Oh, yeah.
Number one, are they licensed? How can you help me? And I think getting to know about them. So asking them about themselves. You know,
Mm,
people love to hear about themselves. They talk enough, they'll be able to reveal the truth. So you want to make sure that whoever you're speaking with is going to be for you, and that they have the fiduciary responsibility to put your best interests before theirs.
those are good. Those are real good. All right, we're going to jump into this now. We're going to talk about the loyalty tax. So, what is the biggest financial mistake you see athletes make when trying to take care of their inner circle?
The biggest red flag when they're lack of boundaries is the biggest red flag that I see. Um, I'm a firm believer, if you're an adult, you're more than capable. There, of course, at times we're going to need help, but needing help does not mean I'm your bank, your bank, right? So
Right.
your I always I tell my sisters, not just to her, but she's a giver, and people's situations are not her priority.
Yep, yep.
That doesn't mean because they're going through something that you have to open your paycheck, you know what I'm saying, your pocketbook. So for you to sit there and say, hey, tell me your problem, but also come up with a solution at the same time, and then let's see if we can be able to make this work.
That is so good, Ash, because you're speaking to me right now. Oh, ouch. Ouch.
Not ouch.
Yeah, ouch. Because here's the thing, I say it all the time, but I still find myself giving. But we don't want to get in the way of God having the people in a certain situation. You understand what I'm saying? We don't want to get in that way because we don't want the person to think that we did it. We want the person to know that God, God, the one that did it. But if you're intervening in something He's telling you not to, He has that person in that situation for a reason, no matter. And oh
Ooh,
God, go here. If you tell them no, you could be done tell them yes 100 times, but that one no, it just it negates everything else, all the 100 yeses. Okay, but
mhm.
if God is telling you to tell that person no, you best tell them no. At the end of the
And
day,
you have
because
to stick by it.
who do you rather get chastised by, them or God? Because God is your source. You
That's
understand it? I don't mean to get all, spiritual on you guys, but I'm just telling you the truth. So the red flag. So in your
mhm.
experience, what is the number one relationship red flag that signals a financial fumble is coming?
I feel like there's so many.
Mm,
There's so many. But there's a time, and I'm speaking from experience, there's a time when you are going through your financial crisis, and you
yeah.
just absolutely know when you swipe that card that there's like that like that cringe feeling, almost like you got to listen to that intuition, because it's telling you something, but yet you're defying it. And then the more you defy it, the more you're going to find yourself in a hole that's going to be hard to get out of. So
Ooh.
feeling that, yeah, I would say that, and that's from experience.
Yes, Tori. Humility, wealth is quiet. See, that's a good one right there. That Pass the offering plate right there. Wealth is quiet. That's so
Mhm.
good, Ashley, because oh man, I wish we had more time because we have more questions. But Tori, that is awesome. Humility and wealth is quiet. Yes, it is. You have to think about that athlete too. And we talked about not having the boundaries, right?
Mhm.
What you just said was another ouch for me as well. And sometimes we could think that it's for somebody else and it really be for us. And see, this is the thing that I love. And this is why I love getting on here doing these shows because you learn. You learn so much, or you kind of like see yourself in another person speaking. You kind of know it. You said when you swipe that card, Ashley, it's a crying shame. And I know that you're a financial advisor, and I know you're probably gonna spank your girl because you are my girl. But I literally have 28 credit cards and um they're not store credit cards.
Mhm.
Why do I need that many? And here's the thing. I want to tell Mr. Malik, he was there just apply for it. And I fell for that. I should have just kept my black card and just that should have been just it. So I
Mhm.
fell for that. And I went to just applying for credit cards. But please do put it out there for a person that's but my credit's not bad now. I have to say that. But I do kind of have sometimes when I go and I swipe their credit card and I have that feeling like you really should be doing this, girl.
Mhm.
What about those that's spending emotionally? Emotionally spending.
Ooh, so you're kind of getting up into my alley. I spoke with you not too long ago about a book that I have been doing, and it's the psychology side of how you are with money. And a
Yeah.
lot of people do spend emotionally, and you have to figure out what that trigger is. Most times, there's something that's leading you to make that payment. I know for me, mine was food. Y'all know I love.
Mm.
I have a horrible relationship with food. And any time that I had a sense of abandonment or a sense of overwhelmingness, I realized that I ate. That was my thing. So now when you swipe and you know you don't need it, you're just swiping it for the sake of swiping it. Figure out what that emotion is that's a tied to you swiping it. And then
Mm.
now that you're able to label that emotion, you have to figure out, okay, why is this trigger happening? And once you're able to figure out why this trigger is happening, you can be able to get a rope on that. And next time you feel that, and it's not an overnight process.
No.
You you have this will make you look in the mirror and be like, damn, I really don't like that about myself. But
Yeah.
why am I doing that? Like this it's a reality check. And once you figure out what that emotion is and why it's tied to you the way it's tied to you, you can have more control over it. But you can't fix what you can't see.
That's it. That is it. But what about if you can see it, but you just don't want to acknowledge it?
Now you just being ignorant. And then at this point, right? At this point, you are
Oh
going
my
to
Lord.
a situation where you're gonna put your back against the wall and the pressure's gonna be really heavy. And by the time the pressure's really heavy, you're either gonna grow with it or you're gonna get going at that point, right? You're gonna do what you need to do to get out of that, or you're gonna find yourself deeper and deeper and deeper into a hole until you're forced to do something different.
Well, I can't wait for this book to come out because it's definitely needed. Because a lot of people fall under that. They see themselves spending but don't know why. You said those triggers. You
Mhm.
need to know what are your triggers, why you're
Mhm.
being triggered, why you're doing what you're doing. Because God deals with the motive, why you did what you did, right?
Mhm.
So here it is. Well, now if you don't know the problem, you can't get help for the problem. But once you find the problem, now you start working on a solution. You don't stay stuck in the problem. And
Mhm.
that's where we find ourselves at a whole lot, staying stuck in the problem. But no, baby, you have to find a way to get up out of that thing. When you know better, you do
You do
better.
that. Yep.
Period. So the
Yep.
identity crisis. I want to ask you, why is it that so many high earners confuse their net worth with their self worth?
I think we allow money to dictate who our identity is. We think that if we have a certain amount of money, that this is the way that we have to carry ourselves. This is the new me, right? And you're wearing a sleeve, and you feel uncomfortable in these rooms because that's not who you really are.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm blaming social media. I'm blaming society because every single day when we're scrolling, we see if you have this, you got to be doing X, Y, and Z. If you're not doing this, then what are you doing in life? And it's these people make money off doing that, right? But they don't know you personally. So they can't sit up there and say, this is the reason why you're doing what you're doing, but you have X, Y, and Z based off what you're at now. And this is how you can be able to scale based off who you are.
Yeah.
And people are becoming one-hit wonders because they're like, oh, I realize this is working. I can make money from this, but that's not who they are. You know, a chameleon can only say a chameleon for so long. Well, it's going to be a chameleon, but they can only, you know, change forms. Whatever that expression is, you know what I'm trying to say.
I got you. You know, but that's so true, though. That is very much true. And oh man, I really hope that you guys are taking something away from this on tonight because Ash is dropping so many jewels here tonight. And please do share this broadcast. If it has blessed you, share this broadcast with someone, an athlete, anyone in the profession that needs a financial advisor, right? Or mortgage loan officer, because she did both. And we're waiting for
it all.
And we're waiting for this book to come out because guess what? If that mind isn't right to be able to hone in on exactly what it is that you need to do with your money or with your mental health, is very, very, very imperative. Next month is Mental Health Awareness Month, and we will be kicking off a campaign over at Moms. You talked about putting on a sleeve, but a lot of the athletes and anyone tied to the athlete, they're wearing masks. So it's time to unmask that athlete. You understand what I'm saying? Because so many of them are suffering in silence, Ash. And as I was speaking to you before when I saw you last, that the suicide rate, it really bothers me as a mother. Not knowing. And as I was doing the research, it's not just NFL players that people tend to say it's just them. I saw boxers, I saw wrestlers, I saw soccer players, I saw softball players, cheerleaders, so we need to create safe spaces. But let's go to the next because we're definitely running out of time. But we'll get with you guys on next Tuesday. We have a special, something special coming before you. I know he missed tonight, but I know he's going to bring the pain next week as well as Ash. So the protection plan. So if an athlete can only protect one asset today, their credit, their cash, or their character, what should they choose and why? Only one.
So we gotta protect. I'm gonna always go with self. One, because if they are the athlete and they are providing for the family, if they die and they want to still take care of their family, they got to make sure they protect themselves because they are the major asset. But I'm gonna always say character over anything. You can always rebuild your credit, once your character is tarnished, it's hard for society to see who you are, like who you really are. And if you're hanging out with the wrong crowd, it's so easy for them to just demonize you. You ain't even got to be doing that. You can just be in a photo nowadays, you know what I'm saying? And something's happened on the photo and you can be looking this way, but whatever's happening on this photo, they're going to associate you with that situation.
That's sad.
So taking care of you.
That is, I didn't even think of, but like you said, we have our phones majority of the times of the day, and everyone has anything happening. The saddest part about it is a lot of people find out their loved ones have been murdered via Facebook.
Through social media. Yeah.
Everybody is filming things. Everything is filmed nowadays. So, oh man, we are almost out of time, but we could go on and on with that. But social media has damaged so much. I say sometimes it's great for networking. It's basically what you use it for. And as we all know that with these NIL deals too, we know that they're forced to be on social media. Or whatever, but truth be told, they can hire someone to do that to protect their mental. Because guess what? If they're in the middle, I'm getting off topic, and this is supposed to be for Mr. Searcy. I'm gonna hold this. Y'all just have to come back and figure this one out. Because man, we could go on and on with that. But I want to let Mr. Searcy speak because he's an athlete. Ashley is an athlete as well, basketball, and Mr. Searcy, NFL legend. So here we go. The safe space, what we do not have very often. A lot of our players, even in in the pro level, right? They have the resources for you, but if you go use the resources, now you looked at being weak.
Mm-hmm.
You looked at with your job being in jeopardy because now you're speaking up. You needed help. So a lot of times these players are not saying anything; they're just suffering. So the safe
Yeah.
space you need. So from a financial perspective, can a safe
Mm-hmm.
space exist if there isn't a legal or professional boundary in place?
Yeah. I honestly think that. When you said that, I watched Club Shay Shay with Michael Beasley's interview. If you have not
Oh,
watched
I
it,
didn't see that
he
one.
said something along the lines of, everything is so fake now that real is weird. And I was like, ooh, he's dropping straight gems the entire interview. And I was like, he's right. Like, there was a time where you can sit down with your friend and be like, man, I'm going through X, Y, and Z. I got this going on. And they're going to be there and be like, yeah, it's okay. But now, and again, it could be a lot of different things depending on the situation. It
Yeah.
gets thrown off to the side. It gets laughed at. The NFL, it looks as if they're weak.
Yes.
But you have to, again, it goes back to what I said earlier, find people who love you.
Yeah.
Love people who love you. Those people will be that safe space. But
Mm-hmm.
when you think about how society curates this environment for what a professional athlete should have on their arm, what their life should look like, they fall into that instead of what it is that they need. So for me, when creating my safe space, I knew who, again, was going to be there for me. I knew who had what I needed.
Yes.
I had a person that I can talk to about this situation because they experienced this situation. I'm not going to go I'm just going to throw a name out there, Kim, and speak to Kim about a situation she's never even gotten into or know anything about. So I'm going to go to someone who has gone through that and made it out on the other end and be like, hey, I'm going through this. Tell me what you did. This is how I feel.
Yeah.
That person can make you feel seen. And they will
Yeah.
also be able to help walk you through that situation. Now, it's up to you as a person, as an individual, to do what you need to do to get to on the other side. Don't live in your victimhood.
Right. Oh, man, you're just speaking on tonight. But ah, think about it. Some people like to play victim. They like to
There's
play
a word
victim.
for that. There's a term for that. I cannot remember, but there's
Me
a term.
either. And I wish that I had it too. But some people love to play victim because that actually makes them feel better about themselves. Right. And you can't get any help if you stay in that,
Mm-hmm.
oh, it's me, right? And this is why I love that God loaned me this title. It had to happen, and I have guests like you to come through here and share your stories because how, like you said, how could you tell anybody how to get through anything if you never went through it? You understand
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? Your light has to shine. God says, "Be salt of the world," right? So let your light shine. So here it is now. You walk the walk, so now you can talk the talk. So here it is. Yes, I've been where I had nothing. I've been where I had it all. I've been where I lost it all. I've
Mm-hmm.
been now building it up. You see what I'm saying? So you have the tools to be able to help others. But think about the others that have the tools to help others, but charging this enormous amount to help somebody else. Not thinking about the time when they needed the help, but they're only going to give you the bare minimum to get you that.
Gatekeepers. I,
I'm just
I heard
a little bit.
I heard a quote, and they said that while we are living, our rent on earth is to help other people out, and a lot of us are past due on rent.
There you go.
And
Yeah.
I have always been one where I'm just like, and it used to be so annoying to teachers, even to some people who are in the professional field, because I'm one that's going to be like, tell me more about this. Okay, but why? Okay, but why? Okay, but why? Like, you're
Yeah.
not just going to be able to give me information and me be like, okay. I'm gonna be like, okay, so why does this work and not this way with X, Y, and Z?
Uh,
And people are like, well, you're giving your time. And I understand that. Yes, at one point, it's just like, I how can I say this? I understand now the phrase, um, the good man finished last or something like that. I
yeah.
understand what that means. I honestly do. Because if it's not flashy enough, if it's not with, I, I was told people appreciate when money is attached to something. I could give people free advice, but they won't hear. A lot of times they don't hear it, but they
No.
can go on and they can say, put this master class, pay $150 down payment, and if you want one-on-one with me, you got to pay $300, and they're
Yes.
gonna go there and they're gonna spin it. And I'm
Yes.
like, but
But
I'm
I just
trying to
give you
give it to you for free.
that. Yeah, because you know what they'll look at, like you want something from them. Not looking at like I'm giving you the game. Like I've been through it, so I'm going to help you get through it. But or you don't even have the numbers to come talk to me. You don't have the numbers to come talk to me. They want to see you have the million the followers or whatever it may be. You have to have the numbers in order to come on. I'm trying to help you, not hurt you. I'm not looking for anything but to help you. And like you said, yeah, it's times where God want us to serve other. He always want us to serve others.
Mhm.
Because that's how that return. And it's not that you do things to look for a return from people, because my rewards don't come from people. Ashley was in the store the other day, and it was a man there, and he was holding up the line, and he was going through his phone looking at his credit cards trying to see, what he could pay. And here it is, I got my mom behind me. She said, don't you even think about it. Don't even think, because I am a giver. But sometimes again, we have to learn. Erica can't save nobody. I
Mhm.
cannot. But if God lays somebody on my heart, I'm going to do it. But what about the times when you're feeling uh guilty, or the person trying to make you feel guilty for not doing it? I'm gonna leave that for next show, because we could go on and on and on. And Ash, I want to truly, truly thank you for coming in on tonight and blessing the people with so much great information. Guys, if you would like to follow Ash, she's on social media as
Jolie, so JOLIEFILLE _Marie. That's on Instagram. So yeah.
you on Facebook too. Come
Oh yeah.
on.
I don't be on Facebook like that, but I be there. But
Okay.
Ashley Marie Cunningham on Facebook. I be there, but I don't be there. You know what I'm saying? Little incognito on
All
Facebook.
right. And if one would like to get in contact with you, how can they do so?
Yes. So if they want investments or a financial plan, roadmap, or mortgages information, you can text 470-546-6903 with either investment, mortgage, or financial roadmap, and we can set up a consultation.
All right, you heard it here at It Had to Happen TV. And we want to thank each and every one of you for coming in tonight and sitting with us through this hour. We're a little like we're probably 9-10 minutes over. However, we're truly grateful for you all coming in tonight. Please do share this broadcast if you know someone that may can use the information that Ash gave out on tonight. Listen, we all need and can learn from each other. We need each other and we can learn from each other. I don't know where people get that I don't need anybody, because that is one bold-faced lie, because we all need somebody, right? We would just want to make sure that the somebody that we need is really in our corner. Like I spoke about earlier, what Michael Bazin, where he said the real is the new fake or something like that. It's weird. You need to send me that first of all, because I want to watch that
It was
interview.
really good. I'm telling you, he's dropping gems.
I want to see that. But it's the truth, and it's not. And again, I love to say this, because I don't want to make people think that all people are bad. I don't think people are bad. I just think they are used by or put into a situation where they allow themselves to be used. And that's for a whole nother show. Y'all will get it when you come back. So guess what, guys? The audit is complete, but the protection of your legacy is a daily practice, guys. You cannot have $1 billion lifestyle with a bankrupt internal foundation. It won't work. A huge thank you to Ashley Cunningham for providing the blueprint on tonight. But guys, remember, your peace is your greatest asset. If it's not protected, guys, it's not permanent. I'm Dr. Erica Wilson. We'll see you next time. And this is the end of the session of the internal. Mastery. It had to happen TV. I will be back before you guys on tomorrow. Again, guys, we need to learn the room when we're walking in these rooms. Learn the room, scan the room before you talk in that room because you can be talking yourself up out of something. Okay. God bless each and every one of you. Ash, thank you. I'm going to give you the floor now to leave them with a word of encouragement.
Yes. So, word of encouragement is to make sure you do the work on you first. You know, when it comes to finances, if you see yourself getting in a position where you are stable, make sure that foundation is solid before you reach back down and help anyone else.
Mm. Y'all better listen. She telling y'all something good because I had to learn. Yeah, I had to learn, y'all. What it say? You gonna learn today. So y'all
Okay.
learn today. So, like she said, if you don't take this information and I pray that this information that she left here with you all on tonight, it fall on good ground. Because when you know better, like she said, you do better at the end of the day. But again, if you're new here, please do hit the subscribe button as well as the notification button. It'll let you guys know every time we go live here, it had to happen. And if you would like to book with your girl, you can either scan here, up here, or go to my website at www.ericawilson@h2h.com. I'd love to have you as a featured guest. Your it had to happen. It happened to you, but it happened for you. God bless each and every one of you. Ash, I love you down, my girl. I'll see you back here on Tuesday with Mr. Searcy, guys. Love you all. God bless you. Until next time. Bye bye.
Bye.